literally your morning starts the night before. So maybe take us through just your circadian day. You're well versed. I think it's important. If someone's listening out there, they're saying, okay, let's listen to Dr. J and how he manages his circadian biology.
Sure. So I have, in my mind, I have a 10-step process from a circadian standpoint, and it's every day. And now it's just routine for me. So obviously, as you said, your circadian day starts the night before. So it will start there. So it's really important that you have a consistent sleep time, that you have, and that's going to vary. I mean, we all have engagements in the evening that we can't miss, but you can be 95% if you go to bed and I go to bed at 9:30, and if I'm not in bed by 9:30 during the week, I'm really struggling a little bit. But you want to have consistent bedtime. You want to, obviously we can talk about sleep hygiene, but that's outside the scope of this. But you have a sleep cave, and so you need to sleep until right before sunrise. And for me, I get up. And I don't even have an alarm clock anymore. I don't need one because I wake up literally about 10 minutes before sunrise every day with no alarm clock now. And I'll give you a little side on that. I was never a morning person. And I thought until I was in my mid 40s that I'm just not a morning person. I just can't do it. I feel horrible in the morning. I always have to have an alarm clock. Well, I can tell you that all changed when I started paying attention to these principles. So you need to arise at a consistent time. And honestly, your body will develop that the more consistent you can be, and you won't need an alarm clock. And so I get up, and the first thing I do, the first light I want to see of the day is the natural light outdoors. So if it happens to be a day that I've got an engagement that I have to get up 30 minutes before the sun rises, I put on my nighttime blue blockers because I don't want to have any screens or LEDs or anything until I see the morning sun. But the first light of the day I want on my eyes and as much skin as possible is the natural sunlight. So I go outside and I'll spend 20 to 30 minutes outdoors first thing. Okay. And so then after I've done that, I walk in, put on my daytime blue blockers, which I wear Blue Tech, which blocks about 60% of the blue. So I come in and then I'll eat breakfast because food is also a circadian zeitgeber. It's an external source. So your GI system does have a circadian system, and food can be a circadian cue. But when it's linked to the light environment, it's much more powerful because then you have the process of the hypothalamus, which through the vagus nerve controls your GI process. You're going to metabolize food so much better. So I eat about 30 minutes to an hour after that initial sun exposure. And then I will get intermittent exposure at least throughout the day. And so if it's a weekend or day off, I'm outside as much as I can be. But during my work day, I have scheduled 5 to 10 minutes where I go outside, glasses off. If I'm somewhere behind the building, I'll take my shirt off. I'll get sun exposure on at least my eyes intermittently throughout the day. I call them quantum sampling. So I want my eyes to get their timing, energy, and information throughout the day from the sun, not from screens like we're staring at now, because I do that all day. And so I'm getting, and here's another point people may not realize is the sunrise has a color temperature of about 1800 Kelvin. Midday sun is about 6000 Kelvin. Our screens that we stare at are all about 6000. So if the first light of your day is a screen, you're checking emails from the night before or text messages, you just communicated to your brain, your suprachiasmatic nucleus, the master clock, that it's noon when it's actually 6:30 in the morning. And so you have just dysregulated your circadian rhythm at the start of your day. The day when I get off, I want to be outside as much as possible. I exercise, but I do it outdoors when it's appropriate and, not cold rain or sleet. And then I will actually watch sunset every day. But an important thing, I do early time restricted feeding, which means I finish my last meal of the day as much as possible before the sun goes down, because we are designed to energize our body with the communication from the sun, from light. So, and then I want to have finished every food consumption, no alcohol, within about 3 to 4 hours of bedtime. And the reason for that is your GI system takes time to metabolize food. If you don't do that appropriately, and so you eat within an hour of bedtime, you are going to create massive free radicals in your cells because the timing from the light environment to your GI system is off, and the cellular timing is off. And so you've created reactive oxygen species, and you can't perform the important tasks during sleep like autophagy and apoptosis, which are absolutely critical during our sleep time. I like to get about 7 to 8 hours of sleep per night, but it's really important, after the sun goes down, to put those nighttime blue blockers on. And those are what I typically use. I have them here. These are the BPI 550s. They are the red color. And so these go on after sunset every day. And I'll wear them no matter where I am. And, it's interesting. It generates a lot of discussion with people. So it's a nice segue. Some people, think you're a little odd, but once they understand the science behind it, to be honest with you, most of them actually want to know where they can get them. And so it's a way that I can open dialogue with people who may otherwise not be interested. But that's kind of the way my day looks. And I would say 9 out of 10 days, and then I'll have, a social engagement. And we all suffer from social jet lag in our modern world. And so we have to, it takes me 2 or 3 days if I have a late night for something to, just like, many of the food gurus talk about, if you're low carb and then you eat a pizza, it takes them 2 or 3 days to actually feel back to normal. Well, once you're in tune with your light environment, it's exactly the same way. The difference is, before I started doing this, I felt bad all the time. So I didn't really know what being in tune with the light environment actually meant or felt like.